Hey everyone, and welcome back to hockeyprospects.com YouTube channel. I'm Jérôme Bérubé, and I'm joined, as always, by Brad Allen. Brad, how's it going?
It's going good. I just watched Dustin Wolf last night beat Seattle by himself with a Gradine shootout helper. But yeah, basically beat Seattle by himself, and he's going to win a Vezina. Just you post that right now. He's winning the Vezina. It's over.
Our podcast should be brought to you by Dustin Wolf. I feel like there's a Dustin Wolf mention in every episode we do. So
he's too good. He's too darn good. I can't say he's so ridiculous. I can't believe how good he is.
So if you guys didn't get the picture here, we're going to talk about the Calgary Flames today. What their top 10 prospect pool looks like, according to us. So let me show you the screen here. Here's our top 10 prospect pool for the Flames. So let's talk about it. Zane Parekh, obviously at number one, he's challenging right now for NHL, winning a roster spot with the Flames. If not, he's going to be back in Saginaw, and he might just absolutely destroy the OHL for one last season. Cole Reshny, Colin Potter, interesting, player that the Flames got in the first round. Samuel Onzek, another first-round pick that from a few years ago. Matvey Gridin, another first-round pick. So the Flames have a lot of first-round pick in the recent years. Saw a lot of Gridin in the queue with Shawinigan this past season. He's likely going to start in the AHL this season. He's not going back to the queue. Really talented player. Sometimes he's a bit lazy at times. But the skill level is pretty high with that player. Theo Stockselius, in our mind, he was a top 32 pick in last year's draft. He went 54, so like a really nice value pick by the Flames here. And then we finished the top 10 here. Jacob Battaglia, maybe one of the more underrated player in the OHL. The Flames got him with his 62nd pick in the draft. We had him 44, so we had a lot of time for him. And honestly, like his +1, year last season, really good. Like we had him 44. Looks pretty low at this point. Major improvement. I think the skating was probably the biggest thing for us in his draft year, that we wanted to put him a bit higher than 44, but the skating kind of like limit us a bit. A year later, it looks like not a good reason because he looks really good in the OHL, and not a lot of people are talking about him. Like he's pretty underrated. Yeah. Kirill Zarubin, like he was our number one ranked goalie back in 2024. The Flames got him in the third round, and Brad will probably have a few things to say about him. And then you have a few wild card here with Adar Suniev and Andrew Basha finishing the top 10 here. Both guys have like a pretty good talent level, but they're a bit, they're not a sure thing as far as translating their skill level to the NHL. Who you want to talk about, Brad? I think it's a really good top 10.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. So the huge thing with Calgary, and again, I mentioned this with the Pacific Division breakdown there. I'll mention it here for sure, which is that like Calgary has a conundrum on their hands. They have the best goalie. It's soon to be the best goalie in the world. Like right now, it's Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Hellebuck. You can make an argument for, I'd say Olmark still is in there, depending on how he looks this year. And then Dustin Wolf, right? Wolf is coming in here quick. The question is, how high is the ceiling? I'm thinking based off everything I've seen here, Dustin Wolf might end up being the best goalie in the world now, like right now. So like for sure top 3, but maybe we're talking like leaves everyone else behind type of, like, let's put it this way. If Dustin Wolf was 6'3", it's over. It's non-negotiable. Vince Carter, it's over. we're done. Because he's 6 feet, it still might be a battle for a year or two here before he just totally becomes the best goalie in the world by a landslide for the next decade. But the problem with this is that, like, yes, you want the best goalie in the world, but the problem is they're not going to get the blue chip as a result of Dustin Wolf's play. So it falls in the Montreal situation with Carey Price. I really think that's what's happening with Calgary. And because of that, that means Calgary absolutely must outdraft most teams. They have to do it. The good news for Calgary is it looks like they are doing that. That's what it feels like. Jacob Battaglia, ludicrous value pick. Theo Stocksilius, ludicrous value pick. You look at Cole Reshny in the mid-teens there. Does he end up top 7, 8 in a redraft? It is possible. They do have one blue chip elite piece, though. And if he hits, it changes the entire complexion of this team forever. And if he misses, oh no, Calgary's in so much more trouble. And that is Zane Parik. Zane Parik is either going to be a nasty version of Erik Karlsson, or the defense never gets anywhere near where it needs. Like either becomes prime Karlsson, or he becomes the version of Karlsson we're seeing in Pittsburgh, who literally just can't defend.
Yeah.
Right? And those are two very different players, as everybody knows. And Zane Parik absolutely must be the initial peak version of Karlsson with nastiness, or there's no chance Calgary can be anything close to what they would without him.
I just want to say,
the ultimate wild card.
Yeah, I just want to say about Parik, if he hits, I think it can be like very similar to what just happened in Montreal with Lane Hutson. Like a lot of question about Lane Hutson coming out of college, and he definitely hit because he had like a monster rookie year, and he completely changed the dynamic of this team. And if Parik does something similar, like it completely will change the dynamic of that team. So you can keep going, Brad. I just wanted to mention this on Parik.
You're completely right. I mean, that's absolutely true. They're different players, but
yeah.
You're absolutely right in terms of impact. It's like Zane Parik hitting this season is like the single most important thing in Calgary's entire organization, outside of Wolf becoming what I think he is, which is a top 3 goalie in the world. Those two things mean everything to this franchise for the next decade. So then we go down. So Rejny, Potter, both smaller, but both extremely different skill sets, which again, we mentioned on the Pacific podcast we did. So I won't go into too much detail there. But I will say that Rejny, we think is a pretty darn good pick that we do believe can play as at least a second line center role going forward, especially with the development curve. If he keeps hitting another level that based off of the last half of last year, like he's going to be unbelievably useful for Calgary for a very long time. Cullen Potter, dynamic rushing winger, gives Calgary a very different look, one that's very useful. So one thing about Calgary as an organization, and you look at their drafting and you look what they bring in, they like a lot of unique experimental players. So if you look at like Potter, he's a very experimental player. There's not many of him. He's kind of an anomaly, his own thing. Samuel Honzik, very raw, experimental winger. They're trying to turn him into a hybrid power forward. So far, mixed results. He looked phenomenal in camp last year. Don't know about this season. So far, I haven't really paid attention to him too much. But then you look at Theo Stocksilius. Like, he could become a hybrid power forward if given time. That would be extremely big for them. Jacob Battaglia is another example of this. Adar Suneyev is another example of this. William Stromgren is another example of this. It's a ton of very interesting, atypical players that are kind of their own thing and kind of distinct and kind of fit into a line in a way that would be unique. Like it would create a unique look for other teams to have to defend against, I guess is the best way to put this. So what they need really is they really need somebody like a Potter and a Honzik combination, or like a Potter and Stocksilius and Battaglia. If they can get something to hit like that, it means it will give them a lot of interesting versatility, and it gives them a lot of positional depth. They don't have a ton of blue chip, but they have a whole lot of very interesting players that can fill unique roles in the top 9. And then you look at Kirill Zarubin. To Jerome's point, we did have him number 1 ranked. Would that be the case in the redraft? The answer is absolutely not. But I still really like him. He's for sure top 6-7 still in that class. Ilya Konarski, his running mate there in AKM system, outplayed him last season, but Ilya Konarski is also a year older, and Zerubin was still very good. Zerubin is, I would argue the big issue with him will be the weight transfers. He's got to get them to another level, but they are already developing. But there's a whole lot there. Like, he's a very underrated goalie prospect. Right now in like a redraft, you're looking at Marcus Gidloff, Mikhail Yegorov, Ilya Nabokov, in whatever order you want right now. Like, I think Gidloff, you put one, and then Yegorov, and then Nabokov, but that's, you really debate that. But my point is, like, he's still a very good goalie prospect. There's still a lot there. I really, really like what Jason LaBarbera has managed to accomplish with Wolf. Like, Jason LaBarbera has like the weapon right now. He's got like the nuclear bomb. He presses the button, Wolf goes off, and then it's the great eraser. It doesn't matter how bad your team is, it doesn't matter how bad they played, you still end up with 2 points, you move on, right? So LaBarbera's got something special. He's managed to turn Wolf into the best skater in the NHL at the position. And I mentioned that because Kirill Zerubin, if he can get his skating base up another level, out of nowhere, he can come over and be a spectacular goalie prospect. And most people are like, what? Who's that? So he's a wild card for sure. The other wild card is down to skating, and that's Adar Suneyev. Adar Suneyev is a ridiculously talented power forward. He's heavy. He has heavy feet. He's heavy on his skates. He's a bit too slow, too sluggish, needs to really get that fast twitch developed. His entire career basically be predicated off of how comfortable he is doing extremely painful hack squats and Bulgarian split squats and jumping squats and every type of squat you can think of. So we'll see if he's willing to commit to that. But if he is, then at the 9 slot and 8 slot here and 7 slot, Battaglia is the same thing, heavy set kid. If one of them can make it, and then the top 3 to 4 there really find a way, like Calgary's going to be more dangerous than people think. Like, they're not as stagnant as people believe the system to be in some circles. Let's put it that way. But again, the entire system is predicated off Zane Parik. If Zane Parik misses, all bets are off. If he hits, it changes the complexion of the team in the same way Lane Hudson did for Montreal, as Jérôme mentioned.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's gonna do it for the our look at the prospect of the Calgary Flames. Like, I like their top 10. I think quite a few guys on that list will end up being NHL player, and obviously Parik is the key here. So, all right, that will wrap up this video. Our next team, we're going to take a look at the Carolina Hurricanes, and there's a ton of prospect to look on that team. So make sure to follow us on the Hockey Prospect and our YouTube channel to not miss any video. Thanks, Brad, and we'll see you guys pretty soon.
Take care, everyone.